So Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke at the Turning Point USA convention in Detroit, Michigan, and when she did, she once again went to bat for the insurrectionists. And she went so far as to say that anyone who shames them can just go to hell. What was so great about all this is Patriot Takes came out with an older clip of Marge where back in January of 2021, after January 6th, she was singing a completely different tune. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but folks, we have saw them go back and forth on this one so many times. One minute they say, we're going to go to the Capitol, we're going to fight like hell, and we're going to take our country back. We're going to stop the steal. Then they get up there, all hell breaks loose. Then it was Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And then if you push them hard enough, no, it was us. We had every right to do it. They have played every side of this story that they possibly could play. They have tried so many times to trick us and gaslight us with videos and say, look, it was a peaceful day that day. I'm so sick of hearing them defend that day. But we're going to go through this clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking at Turning Point. We're going to break it down piece by piece because there's a lot to unpack. And there's so much of it as I was watching, I was like, wait a minute. There's parts of this I'm going to want to butt in on real quick. So we're going to go along with her Turning Point USA speech, and then we're going to show you the clip that Patriot Takes put out where she was singing a different tune. But let's get the ball rolling. Here she is at Turning Point USA.
They stole the election, and I was a newly elected member of Congress, but they stole President Trump's election.
See, I love how she got tripped up right there, right out of the gate. She's like, well, I won my election, but they stole his. That's always been so funny to me. It was a rigged election. It was a stolen election, but every Republican that won, those was legit. And the one that Donald Trump lost, that was the one that was rigged. So if Joe Biden was this big mastermind who could rig elections in his favor, wouldn't he have rigged all of it in his favor? And wouldn't he have got rid of every Republican so he would only have Democrats to work with? I mean, that's called logic, but we know Marge has none, but she's just getting warmed up, folks. Take a look.
And heading into Washington, D.C., I thought to myself, I can't believe this. I'm from Georgia. I knew Georgia voted for Donald John Trump. I knew it.
You know, I'm sure she knows a whole lot of people in Georgia that can't stand Donald Trump, but that doesn't mean the whole state went for him. It just goes to show what an echo chamber these people are truly in. But in this next clip, she talks about how she is proud that she protested the election. Take a look.
And so I called up some of my friends. I called up Jim Jordan. I called up Matt Gaetz. I called up some others. And I said, we got to get together and do something about this. And then I found out that as a member of Congress, I can object to electoral college votes. And so I organized with many of my colleagues. There was well over 130 of us. I called senators and asked them to object with us on January 6th. I worked diligently on that, and I'm very proud of it. I'm proud that I objected to Joe Biden's electoral college votes on January 6th.
So she's proud of the fact that she objected to the election results. But what she's not saying is that Donald Trump peddled every conspiracy theory that he could because he wasn't man enough to accept defeat. Time and time again, he kept getting told there was no election fraud. There's nothing here that can overturn the election. He kept saying, just find me the votes. He tried every way in the world he could to flip it back in his favor. That's the part she's not telling here. But go on, Marge.
And then I was shocked, absolutely shocked at what happened that day. Americans protested an election. By the way, American citizens own the elections. American citizens pay for the elections. Your tax dollars pay for it. And American citizens have a God-given right by our Constitution to have free and fair elections.
See, that's just it. It was a free and fair election, and they couldn't accept the results. This has nothing to do with their tax dollars. This has nothing to do with their feelings about the election. This is because they bought into a bunch of conspiracy theories and got all worked up and went up there to overthrow their government. And Marge just continues to give them a pass.
And you have the right to bring your grievances before your government. Because guess what? You elect that government, and your tax dollars pay for that government, and the American people empower that government. So if you don't feel good about the election, there's nothing wrong with protesting it, and there was nothing wrong with protesting the election on January 6th. and any Democrat, that's right, and any Democrat and any person from the mainstream media and anyone that wants to continue to shame us for January 6th can go to hell.
I'll give her this much. You do have a right to protest, and you do have a right to bring your grievances, but you do not have a right to go to the Capitol and hit police officers upside the head. You do not have the right to go up there and bust out windows and kick down doors. You do not have a right to start a riot. Just because you pay taxes and just because your tax dollars goes to elections does not give you the right to go up there and use violence. And notice, she never called it out. She never said one word about, hey, there was some bad stuff happened on that day. But Patriot Takes came out with this really good video of her back in January 2021 when she admitted out loud that, yeah, there was Republicans, and it really derailed their message. Take a look at this.
Is so many reports of Antifa being embedded in that breach on the Capitol, but I want to tell you something because I was there myself. Yes, Antifa was involved, but there were also Trump supporters involved as well. And I denounced the violence that happened at the Capitol. It was terrifying. And it shouldn't have happened because it truly did derail our objection efforts, and it put an ugly stain on what MAGA means.
So my question is this: why didn't she stick to that talking point? Why is she up there telling people now that we can go to hell for shaming them for that day, that they had every right to do it? Not one time at Turning Point did she call out the violence, because she's playing in to the hands of the lowest common denominator. Her base is the absolute bottom of the barrel, and we will sit here and call them out to the end of the world. And if there's a hell below, we'll go with you, Marge, and we'll hold your hand, because it's absolutely ridiculous that you have sat here and coddled these people and called them patriots and called them hostages after what they done. Folks, I will never forget the sick feeling I had in my stomach that day watching it, just watching it unfold and going, well, this is it. Donald Trump has proved what we've said about him all along. He's proved that he's exactly what we said that he was. I thought that was the end of it. I thought that was it. I thought that proved our point. I thought that he would be held accountable. But no, we're still, here we are in 2024. He's the presumptive nominee. He's still running for office, and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene is still going out there and calling these people patriots and hostages and condoning that bullshit. That's where we came to. That's the point we made it to. I was so naive. I feel so stupid for thinking back then on January 6th of 2021, well, this should be the end of it. I mean, this proves they're exactly who they say they were. But no, they've had ever since January 6th of 2021 to double down and quadruple down on their rhetoric and keep pushing it. So they're never going to change, and they're never going to hold each other to account. Folks, you might as well forget it. They're not going to take responsibility. They're going to continue to push the grift, and they're going to continue to get behind Donald Trump no matter what. He can insult their wives. He can insult their husbands. He can insult their physical appearance. He can insult their families. He can say whatever he wants to say. They're just going to go along with it, because once the MAGA base, once Trump's base is taken out of the Republican Party, if they discredit that, they got nothing, because the Republican Party has no ideas. They didn't have any for a long time. If Donald Trump hadn't came along when he did, we still wouldn't have seen a Republican in office. It wouldn't have happened, because they were trying to run on such ancient ideas they had nothing. But Donald Trump found a way to be the cult of personality and get everything off the rails. He was able to capitalize on it and take those old ancient ideas and pull them right up now, right up till today, and use them to weaponize them against people in 2024. He drove our country back 100 years. He took us back to a place I never thought we would be. Growing up, I would hear my mom talk about how things used to be. I would hear my grandpa talk about how things used to be. And I thought that was in the rearview mirror. I thought we were past that. Turns out their intentions was to take us right back to it.